Hello all, welcome to this channel on Learn to Excel. You're with me, Sharmila. Today's topic of discussion is tips to improve time management skills. This is in continuation of the time management skills topic. As we have seen, time is very important and we need to learn how effectively to manage time, which will help us to achieve our goals and dreams. So let's get started. Here are some of the skills that uh, will help us in effective time management. Rather than skills, we should say these are tips to improve your time management skills. First is set clear vision and goals. Next, list down all the activities or tasks, task by task, then prioritize. Schedule time basis the list of actions that you might have. Learn to say no and set clear expectations, then able to delegate, and finally minimizing all social media and other distractions. So let's see what each of these means and how we can achieve them. So first and foremost important tip is to set clear goals. It could be long term goal or short term goal, whatever we want to achieve. It could be a daily goal, weekly or monthly or yearly, or maybe a long term goal, which might even be like a 5 or 10 years plan. Say, for example, if you are at a workplace and your objective or goal is to get a promotion within 6 months, you need to set some amount of short term goals to improve skills, certain skills which is related to that new position. Say, for example, you want to become a team lead. So, what are the skills required to become a team lead? You should have good communication skills, people engagement skills, project management, presentation skills, good process knowledge of the particular process that you want to become a team lead for. So these are the skills required to become a team lead. So if you want to become a team lead in 6 months time period, you have to set these short-term goals to acquire these required skills one by one. Okay, so that's one example. Let's look at another example where if you are a student and if you want to get distinction in your exams, you should have short-term goals of scoring higher percentage in internal exams, which prepares you really well for the finals. Also, you should plan your day-to-day agenda in such a way that it helps you in achieving your long-term goal of passing in distinction. So setting goals is one important tip. The next important thing is to list down all the tasks one by one. So once you have the goal and you have short-term goals, like the example that we took, if you have the to-do list, you have to make a list of things, both for your short-term or long-term goal. This activity is very important because that is when you know what are the tasks at hand that you need to do, and identify urgent versus important tasks. So only if you have a list, you can prioritize them and accomplish them basis their priority. Else, we might end up in forgetting most important task, or we might end up missing the timelines for any urgent task that we were supposed to be doing. So to-do list is very important and it helps us to achieve the tasks at hand one by one. Okay, and the next important thing is prioritization. So once you have the list of tasks listed down one by one, you have to be able to prioritize them basis how important they are or basis their urgency. So once you have the list, what you can do is you can identify what are those urgent and should be completed without any delay, and what are those which can be delegated or which can be delayed for a certain time period. So prioritization will definitely help us in good time management for having a better work life balance. So if you have like 10 things at work, you have like 5 things from family, then you can put all the lists together and prioritize them as required. So if you see in this case, you have family, career, hobbies, health, you can put all the list of activities and then prioritize them basis their urgency or importance. The next important tip is to calendarize it. So once you have prioritized and you have the list identified, you can calendarize them and schedule to manage the work basis the priority and the timelines that you have set. So each one of us have a calendar, right, which could be used to manage our time. If you are in a workplace, calendarize every important work that you may have. That will help you to avoid disturbance and will give you all the time and focus that is required to complete some important task at hand. So scheduling and calendarizing helps you to avoid stress, and it helps you avoiding wasting of time. It also helps you to manage your personal stuff, and which again in turn will help you in better work life balance. Next important thing is learning to say no. It's okay to say no, because remember that we can do anything, but not everything. It applies to everybody, whether it is at work or at home. It is not possible for one single individual to manage everything, right? So it is good to learn to say no. I have seen that many people struggle to say no because they're afraid of maybe managers, maybe elders at home. But it is rather better to say no and then take up the work and mess it up, right? So it's okay to say no whenever you are already overburdened. So it is, we can say it's a learned skill. It's nothing like it comes by default. It's a skill that you learn. So whether it is for meetings or taking any additional responsibilities or taking extra burden when you already have lots on your plate to manage, it is good to be able to say no, for which you definitely need to work on your communication. You have to set some boundaries for yourself too. If you want to accomplish tasks on time without any distraction, you need to inform your team or your family members about the limitations that you may be having. So be sure to communicate your limits, but in a polite and direct manner. Could it be at work or at home? So make it clear to everybody which are hours of the day that you prefer not to be disturbed. So if you are at workplace, you can calendarize them, except in case of emergencies. So during these times, set your phone to do not disturb, close all chatting applications, and also close all other notifications, right, which will help you focus on some important activities. So that's one other important thing, right, to set clear expectations. Okay. Another important tip is to delegate. This is one other skill that we have to learn, to delegate. Not all are good at delegation. And remember, it is not just when you have authority you can delegate your work. Even otherwise, you can delegate your work to somebody else. Let's take an example. If you are two sibling at home and if you have an activity which you are overburdened, which you feel overburdened to complete, can you ask your sister, maybe elder or younger, to accomplish that? Definitely yes. So do you need authority for that? Not required. Similarly, in workplace, say there are two individuals working on a particular project, and one person is held up with some other work and his day is full. That individual can delegate the work to the other individual on the project and ask them to complete, right? So it is good to delegate to somebody else rather than putting off the work for a later time, right? So that's what this tip speaks about. So you should learn to delegate whether at home or at work. So if you have like 10 things to do and there are like one or two which someone else can do and have enough time, you should probably be delegating that. So there are many who fail in this skill. So I'm also one of such person and always try to learn the skill to delegate. Again, as I mentioned, it could be because of fear of failure of the work that other person might not be able to do. But let me tell you, if you are overburdening yourself and doing everything, then you might land up in a situation where one day you may not be able to do anything at all. In that case, what we would be able to do, right? So it is better to delegate when time permits and let others also to contribute. Um, in this sense, I would also like to say that parents also should delegate work to kids so the work is done and that they don't get stressed by doing all by themselves. This also helps the kids to learn some skills, life skills, right? So it's one important skill to learn, and it will definitely help in effective time management. Okay, so another important thing or tip is to minimize all social media and other distractions. Okay, so earlier all our socialization used to be in person. Right now, the technology has developed so much that we all are dependent on all these applications like Facebook, your YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. So this is one of the distractions that we have um, when it comes to time management. If we are able to manage our precious time by avoiding or minimizing these distractions, it will definitely help us to save a lot of our precious time and help us have less stress in life. Students spend more time on these social medias rather than focusing on studies or some life skills, learning some life skills. So even at office, people lose focus on work at hand, and they get distracted because of Facebook or WhatsApp or YouTube, so which impacts their work and productivity, right? So it is good to minimize how much ever possible all these distractions, and that is one effective way of good time management. And this is one of the best type I can say: use the time effectively and for some contribution to the world. Okay, so that is all we had. So one last thing that I wanted to speak about is the prioritization metrics. So this is one um, tool that we can see we can use to prioritize our work. So if you have like 10 things at hand, say for example, you have like 10 things at the office and 5 things to manage at home, list down everything. Once you have listed down everything, task by task, basis how important the task is and how urgent the task is, you can put them into this list. So, say for example, you have one thing saying you need to meet the doctor. That is important. It is urgent as well, right? Because it is related to your health. So, you will put it in this bucket: high important and high urgency, so you will do it first. Say for example, you have one other action saying you have to review your Facebook, you have to chat with your friends. So those are not priority. It is not, it might be important to some extent, right, to keep your socialization, but not that important. It's of low importance and low urgency. You can put that under no action or do not action, or action but do it later, right? So or in office you have a project work where you have to deliver the results by today, then that is most important and it is urgent also because you have a timeline given. So you can put that under action, do first, right? So you can list down all your tasks that you have at hand. Use this prioritization metrics to identify what are those important and urgent ones and what are those which you can delegate or you can put them off your list. Okay, so that is all I had to speak about the tips to improve time management skills. If you found it helpful, please share your feedback in the comment section. Thanks for listening in. If you have any other suggestions for any other trainings, please do let me know. And please do subscribe, share, and like. Thank you.